Today we are facing a serious problem of global warming, and a large part of this is due to the very high greenhouse gas emissions caused by traffic. The color of this changing sphere shows the global temperature increased from 1970 to 2017. At the same time, the lines show the amount of carbon dioxide emitted by traffic were gradually increasing in most of the countries or regions. Green New Deal is a policy published by the UK, which not only tackles climate emergency but delivers social justice together. Away with the cars is one of the themes. As an international metropolis, London is seriously affected by car urbanism besides climate crisis, like noise, air pollution and traffic accidents. Transport for London has published the low emission zone to improve traffic issues in city scale. While our goal is to respond to Green New Deal to help London decarbonize transport system, achieve private car-free city by 2050, and also reduce social inequality to some extent. During pandemic, the number of visitors to many facilities was decreasing because of lockdown and remote working. At the same time, the transport emissions were also reducing. This does bring some benefits to our environment. But it is temporary after all. Not everyone is lucky enough to maintain a normal life under this situation. People need to access these facilities and return to their normal lives. COVID-19 supports as a catalyst to reevaluate our over-centralized urban structure and to develop a concept for local. 15-minute city model emphasizes everyone can get equal to access to services, amenities and green space in a short walk or bike ride. It helps to form sub-centers in our cities, reduce long-distance travel demand, and then support to achieve car-free city. Many cities develop this concept to manage the impact of COVID-19. The 15-minute city Paris captured international attention in the wake of the pandemic. It revolves around mixing urban social functions. It reduces the travel demand and gives room for the streets to serve individuals rather than cars. Besides, Barcelona developed the 15-minute city concept based on its superblocks. It effectively takes urban space away from the cars and gives it to the people, enabling an increase in walking and also providing more space to socialize. It also has better cycling and public transport links to replace car journeys. From expanded cycleways to transformed space and widened sidewalks. The 15-minute city approach offers a way to build on positive changes to boost the local development, deliver equity and climate benefits. Concluded from President, there are 5 main elements that will affect the travelways: proximity, connectivity, mobility, street multifunctionality, and entry restriction. 15-minute city projects consider all of them. However, it relies sometimes too heavily with having access to facilities in close proximity to residential in a certain time, which is not always possible. Science people get the facilities wherever they can and will not necessarily be able to walk or cycle. Same as 15-minute city concepts, we want to make most of the people meet their needs by walking or cycling faster and easier, prioritize public transport for those most in need, and then cut down usage of cars gradually. But thinking more realistically, we cannot rely too much on the changes and additions of facilities, but first make full use of the existing ones and then consider adding facilities. So, we imagine the design of cities without private cars through reconnection of urban fabric that has been fragmented by the car infrastructure firstly, and then going to consider proximity and street multifunctionality. We process our design in 3 steps to help London achieve car-free city and alleviate its social inequality. Haringey is one of the poorest boroughs among 32 boroughs, and it seriously suffers from car urbanism. We choose Haringey as a test. If its surrounding boroughs can implement this scheme, it will decrease through-trip traffic in Haringey. Haringey shows an obvious gap between the east and west of Central Great Northern Line. Most of the wards in the east are in very high deprivation level and have more unemployed people with low social grades, while situation in the west is relatively better. Car ownership in the east is obviously lower than the west, and the public transport accessibility level shows a better situation in the east. The existing infrastructure in Haringey presents a number of constraints to east-west movement in particular. The west is lacking in rail infrastructure. Only one underground station serves the west. Approximately 75% of the land area to the east of the Great Northern Line, which is served by 3 underground, 6 national rail and 2 underground national rail interchanges. This is compounded by the central Great Northern Line, of which there are limited crossings and has led to a level of severance both in movements, demographics and socio-economic characteristics. The existing crossings have problems include invisible, unfriendly and unsafe. 15-minute city project in Barcelona, priority is given to walking and cycling by reorganizing road network and imposing speed limits on certain road sections. Open space is reclaimed or created from parking. While the street space plan in Haringey, which is funded by TfL, DFT and the Mayor of London, also considers adding temporary cycle lanes and implementing speed limits in school street measures. But we find it lacks consideration of connecting east-west. Considering the distribution of bus roads, underground and rail, we reconnect the cycleway to help people, especially who living in the west, get easier access to facilities in town centers and public transport which are mainly concentrated on the east. Also, we consider to bring people to nearby open green space. We choose Penstock Tunnel, which is an existing crossing to make it better connect the east and west of Haringey. This area is farmland before 1850, and people could pass through freely. With the development of city, many buildings were constructed here. The important connecting tunnel was gradually obscured by buildings and trees, and become more and more invisible and unfriendly to pedestrians and cyclists. The flows in this tunnel is very small now, and it is mainly used by surrounding school children to pass through. After on-site research and the collection of relevant online comments, we found a lot of places in the venue that can be promoted, such as flower bed and lights. And also, we get feedback like removing the fence with block sides along new river path and creating more space in the east entrance. After improving, this area will be more visible, vibrant and friendly to cyclists and pedestrians. It will attract more people and become a better connection between the east and the west. In many 15-minute city projects like Paris, they transform the car-oriented space into the people-oriented ones, and this beautification is definitely great for people in the high streets. Street space program in Haringey extend the pavement and reduce through traffic in residential areas. However, we think these two projects support local space development but lack of consideration of connecting community with high streets. Integration in space syntax tool represents roads with high potential of gathering people, and we find these roads are near to town centers. With the support of technical analysis, we find the roads near town centers have high potential to gather people, but hard to access because of many barriers, like building, fence, and invisible paths. These are mainly caused by the old urban structure that was designed for traffic rather than people. We give a strategy that linking town centers with its surrounding residential areas based on the centers of wards. Then let surrounding residents get better access to various facilities located in high streets. According to space syntax, we check the road connection around different town centers and find these barriers. We plan to break these barriers and reconnect communities with high streets. After reconnecting, many surrounding communities will get direct and indirect benefits in getting access to services. We circulate these areas based on local super output area. Directly benefited area has the most obvious decrease in time consumption to town centers, while indirectly one has less intervention but also affected. Then we use space syntax tool to make a retest and find the roads near town centers but hard to get access to show an obvious decrease. We choose wood green as our design area. Wood green is the heart of Haringey, drawing in people from across the borough and beyond to shop, work and have fun. It is also home to its own bustling and diverse community. Its outstanding transport connections put the rest of London on its doorstep. In 1878 to 1963, Wood Green developed along the Palace Gate line. After the railway was demolished in 1963, urban planners still didn't consider the connectivity between the two sides of the original railway. Many big box malls were built along Green Lane, which caused the nearby residents cannot access to the high street facilities in a shorter time. We conducted a detailed survey of the site here and found that there are many elderly people in the small square in front of the bookstore who like to stay here. We collected a lot of the suggestions. After that, we passed through the narrow road and we saw a parking lot that occupies a large space. It makes the road connecting the two ends difficult to find. And more importantly, it blocks the traffic of the residential area behind the commercial streets. We get feedback that this area needs more facilities for all age groups, especially for the elderly, and they think better walking and cycling environment could be created here. Our design is divided into 3 steps. Government set a goal to create local zero-emission zones by 2025. Our target assists to achieve this goal and reduce 20% of car usage in London with support of policy by 2025. In our design area, what we do is demolishing building, transforming the function of backyard car park. Then the time for surrounding communities to reach the high street will be shortened, and it will reduce their long-distance travel demand and the needs of cars. In the second stage, we want to help London reduce 60% of car usage to achieve all bus fleet zero emission by 2037. We improve high streets and give priority to pedestrians and cyclists in our design area. By doing this, high streets will attract more people to commute by walking and cycling. By 2050, London will achieve zero emission from all transport. Our intervention will assist to be away with cars with support of policy, transforming building function from multi-story car park into diverse use will implemented in this step. Then this town center will be more attractive and meet more needs of surrounding communities, especially children and the elder. Everyone will feel welcome and daily needs could be met within a short walk or cycle ride at that time.
This area becomes so nice. I also want this improvement near my home.
I walk here every day for shopping and socializing.
Yeah, actually, I think this bit will be lovely with a canopy here.
I disagree. I don't think that would be suitable here. I prefer a fountain.
That's true. By the way, do you know there is a new app for us to check our streets and to make suggestions?
Oh really? Show me please.
You can make suggestions by following the 10 guidances and find your ideal streets by typing postcodes.
Let me try it.
And you can also see the current score of 8.
Now I can see the street. What's the next? I want this street to be welcome to children because there is a school nearby.
Then you can see the top 4 selections from all users in Discover. You can also check the most frequent words which will become the core of designing.
I see. I can add my idea here.
Then you will see the detailed change of your street based on your suggestions and its rendering.
Ooh, I like this. I will encourage my friends to take part in. I believe our streets will be more attractive. Then I will choose to walk and cycle instead of driving.
Through our design, we want to help to achieve justly car-free London with the support of policy. That's all. Thank you.